thank you for joining. This is an example of how you may use PolicyBox in the HR or just general employee employment space, whether you're a HR professional in a large firm or a small to medium enterprise managing your own HR policies. This is a really good example that we worked through with one of our test organizations the other day. And I'll take you through it now so you can kind of get a sense of how we can use it in that space. Um, so what we've got here is the main screen of PolicyBox. So when you log in, you'll see the matters that you've been working on beforehand. But what I'll start by doing is going to the master policy section. And this is the master policy section. You can see here, this is the sort of the repository of all the different policies that we have. And for this account, we have any money laundering policies. We've got an employee onboarding policy, which is a good one. And but the one I wanted to show you right now is the fair work policy for the food industry. And this is one that we built with a specific customer who had a problem that they were working through. So the example here is you can see this is where you would upload the policy. We've already uploaded one, and we've got a policy rule in there already and some base level regulation or law. And you can see that we've actually uploaded in here, and I'll show you very quickly already the Food, Beverage and Tobacco Manufacturing Award 2010. And so that document is now in the system. The AI has uploaded it, it's interpreted, it's sitting there ready to query. So we'll go back to our home page now because we've got that in there. And what we'll do now is we will go into create a new matter. And this is generally where you create a new matter. We'll select the master policy. In this case, it's the Fair Work Food Policy. We're going to generate a new matter. We can type in some information or we can select a previously used prompt. And for this one here, this is one that we used the other day. Essentially, do we have to pay leading hand allowance when the employee is not doing the role or away? And what would we need to do to advise them about our obligations? Well, it's obviously obligations, but we've just mistyped obligations there. We'll create a client for that. So that'll be the employee maybe that we're working on. So I'll call it employee test one. Hit enter, and now that's created that within our client database. So we can always go back, look at that, or add another matter to that employee. We'll generate the matter. That'll take a little bit of time just to generate it, but you know, this is a really good opportunity just to kind of sit here and take a break and a breather. Doesn't take too long, but it'll take sometimes up to 30 seconds or a minute, but generally it takes about 10 seconds. I find it really cool because you can kind of see what the AI is doing in the meantime. And just for those that are wondering what AI it is, we're using at the moment, at this particular point in time, Claude to manage this. There's a bunch of other applications that sit around it that help us upload the data as well. You can see the matter's been generated and ready to go. Okay, so it's come up with a summary of what our obligations are. Won't take you through all of them, but what it's essentially done is it's repeated the question to us and it's given us our likely obligations by reading the Act. It's given the components of the Act that it's referring to, and it's given us some componentry around that. And it's essentially given us the answer that the customer wanted, which was generally not payable once they are no longer performing the role. What are our advice obligations? So what do we actually really need to do? So if I was sort of deep into thinking about that matter, I would read through all of this information and I would see that I'd get an outcome. And so, yes, please, can I have a compliance matter built? So if I wanted to sort of have a conversation with the AI at this point before building the compliance matter, I could do that. But for the purposes of this, we'll just request it to build a compliance matter. And this should now start to work through building a set of steps that then I can follow. And a good time again, just to kind of, take a breath and maybe be thankful. Again, this will take a little bit of time. As we're waiting for the matter to be returned, we can see that it's adding matter steps in there now. So this is one that the system itself before we uploaded this had no expertise around it at all, but we're able to build a really strong compliance set of steps and instructions really, really quickly. I think this took us maybe 5 minutes to build the matter. And that's kind of a really good example of the power of the tool. You can see it's now pulling together the metadata on the matter, and it's set up a whole bunch of steps that that are suggested that we want to be able to follow. You can see here that it's given us steps around confirming the leading hand classification status, verifying correct payment. So all the steps that we want to make sure that we follow. If we're unhappy or want to change any of these steps, we can simply do this by typing our request into the box on the right hand side, and those changes will be made. I'll provide an example of that now. So I might want to add a step that requires us to review the position within 30 days of advising the employee in a formal meeting setting, and another step to advise the CEO of what we have done. So we'll add those steps, or we'll request our AI friend to add those steps, and it'll work through that. It'll make an assessment on it. It'll go back, it'll check the legislation, it'll go back, it'll check any rules that we've set within our template or our rules template, just to make sure that there's no conflict. While we're sitting here, you can see that it's given it a risk rating score of 6 out of 10. So how risky is this matter in the context of the set of obligations we're working within? You could ask the AI for details on how it's built that risk rating, and it'll do that for you. Okay, you can see very quickly it has updated those steps. Now it has it's added additional steps. So you can see it's added the advice CEO of compliant actions taken and a 30-day formal positioning review following the employee meeting. So it's added those steps in, and that's really nice because now we can do things like assign those to a team member. And I'll just show you how you do that. You can see we'll assign that one to Batman. And now Batman has the obligation and will be tagged to complete that matter. You can see the B up there. That's because that's the icon for that employee, Batman. And so now that's done, we're really happy with that. We don't want to add any more steps. We don't want to delete steps. We're happy with that. We can do things like we can check on the master policies that it's referring to. You can see there's an exit interview rule. There's the PDF of the obligations or the legislation that was uploaded. And we can confirm that matter and save that. One thing that's really helpful is that if the legislation was to change, or if you were to add some more compliance rules within it and that was uploaded to the system and you came into this matter, in this section here, you would see an update and it would tell you that legislation or rule or a compliance obligation has changed, and therefore it'll give you the opportunity to make an update to the matter as well in the future. I'll confirm this matter, and you can see that that matter is now confirmed, and I can start to do things like update the status of those matters. If I go down here, you can see that matter here, 30-day formal positioning review, that's updated. That's with Batman to go and do. If I wanted to reopen this matter and start to work with the AI again because I wanted to add another step that I hadn't thought of, it's as simple as just clicking on the reopen matter, and that will reopen the matter, and that's done. So that's a kind of really, I thought a really clever use of the system from one of the organizations that we've been working with. And they thought that that would now save them around about 50 hours of stress just by having it organized in a way that they could consume, understand, and start to work through. So hopefully that's really helpful. There's another HR example that I really like that we started building the system on and testing the system on, and that was around employee onboarding. And we'll have another video on that one at a later date. But at this point in time, thank you for watching if you got all the way to the end. Thanks.